This is kind of the first time I get a chance to do something like this right now. I don't have any spots for this stuff up here, though. Just want to start off by saying probably the most common phrase that's ever been used. I'm excited for this season, right? Everyone kind of says that, and obviously we are too. At this point right now, we have lots of new faces. I think we're very young right now, but we are talented. It's going to be anxious to see kind of where we're at as far as where we left this spring and the improvements that were made over the summertime to see where we're going to be this coming fall right now. Also, I think what's intriguing to find out too as well to see how our guys are going to bond, how they're going to mesh with each other. That's always a camp question. It's an unknown from that standpoint there. Offensively, we have about 6 returning starters, so that's not a lot. We've got some holes to fill there. We've got some battles at the offensive line spot, battles at the receiver position, and obviously the biggest one would be the quarterback spot as well. Also, backup Y or tight end as well needs to be sought out there as well. So obviously we need to see who's going to step up and take the reins as the starter in those roles, who's going to provide some backup there for us as we enter into a long season. We're going to need that backup, which has to be established right now, because come week 6 and 7 and 8, when we're banged up just a little bit, we're going to need those bodies at that point right there. So it's a big fall camp. We're looking forward to it, and we are anxious to get started here next few days here. So any questions that we may have from there?
How does your life change with the arrival of Jennings?
Yeah, it's going to be frantic now. Obviously, we got to get him caught to speed now. So that'll start here tomorrow morning. Okay, we're going to probably grind about 7 o'clock in the morning. We're going to get going until practice time. But also know this, though. My plan is to be a little bit smart with him. We're not going to give him the whole package early. We're going to kind of ease him into it just a little bit. Although the rest of the offense will be going at a much faster pace, he will not be. Just to build up some confidence in him, allow him to master some of the detailed things early on. And then as camp goes on, whatever practice that is, then we'll be giving him more stuff and more duties at that time there. But early on, it'll be rather simple.
A lot of your leaders on offense and your wide receiver core are kind of slot guys. Al Riles, Gary Haynes, Gabe Fugely. The battle you're talking about, is that mostly the wide-out position between guys like Keenan Barnes, Jared Johnson?
That's exactly it. Keenan Barnes, Jamarcus Bradley, Michael Jaquette, Jared Jackson, all those guys. So that's about 4 quality guys right there that have done some really good things, but are still very young, though. Never played in the game just yet. But they can run, they can catch, they block well. It's the unknown as far as once they get into a game-like environment, how will they react then? That we don't know. And that stuff we won't know until game time shows up. But those are the battles going on outside. Gabe, though, is a slot receiver, though, but will also have the opportunity as well to also play the slot, but also some outside receiver, which he's been doing. But I think his body type is more made for a slot receiver, though, obviously.
Hey, Coach, considering that you have so many young players on the team, how big is it to have a returning senior like Elijah McGuire out there to design plays and also be a leader on offense?
He's awesome. He's a fantastic player. From a leadership standpoint, he's not a very vocal guy right now. I just brought him in last week, said, hey, man, I need you to step up. I need you to be more vocal. I need you to say more things. But his work ethic, though, is unmatched. And so the fine line that we have with him is that we want every ball to go to him. But by trying to do that, though, obviously, you're going to wear him down into the ground from a practice standpoint there. So we can't do that. Got to be smart about that. And if he does go down and the entire package is built for him, well, what's next? Now, what do we do next? So those are the issues that we have to decide. How much is too much? How much is not enough? And have a balance in between there.
Coach, Jordan was up and down during the spring and in the spring game. So now with the competition going on with Jennings coming in, what are you looking from him starting off fall camp?
So the advantage that he has, obviously, he knows what to do. He knows the system. He knows where to go with the football, knows the proper footwork. His eyes are in the right spot. the thing he just doesn't have, he doesn't have game day experience as a starter. Okay, so the problem we had with him this past spring was he did start off a little bit slow first week of camp. About the second and third week of camp, though, had a really good spring. It was that last spring game where all of a sudden it was a little bit of a game day atmosphere. So we had the lights on, the music playing, stuff like that. Didn't quite see the Jordan Davis that we saw in weeks 2 and 3. That worried us just a little bit. So I think with Anthony coming in and compete for that job, that brings the experience factor up within that room. Also with him, Jalen Nixon still in the mix as well. Started about 5 or 6 games last year. Also has some experience there as well. So now Jordan has all the tools. He can run, he can throw, knows what to do with it. We just got to get him that experience as fast as we can. But now it's impossible as a coach, though. I can do everything except give him that game day experience. I can't do that. So we'll see what happens from that aspect there.
Coach, when it comes to a 2-quarterback system and using 2 in a game, do you kind of have a uniform outlook on that every year, or do you look at this year and say maybe it has advantages?
We do not want to use that, but we will, though, from a short yardage standpoint, okay? So it's not going to be a situation where all of a sudden one quarterback gets a whole series or another series. I think Jalen right now for sure will be the goal line guy, the short yardage package guy. But other than that, I think we want to pick a starter and stay with that guy for about as long as we can. I think that's the goal.
This is your second tour as an offensive coordinator here. The PlayStation offense kind of.
Yeah, right.
When Mike
With Desimo,
was your
yeah.
quarterback, how have you learned, what have you learned in these last 4 years to maybe kind of change a little bit? How has your offense changed from back in 2000?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's, the good things that we did in the past, we're going to keep doing that stuff there. I think the pass game has changed a little bit. I think our tempos has changed a lot to not give away that much at all here. But I think you're going to see something that is in vogue right now, okay, without maybe saying too much past that right from there. So that's something that I think in years past we had that built in just a little bit, but now I think it's going to be full-time a little bit.
Will you be on the field or in the field?
That I don't know, maybe upstairs possibly still yet. Still not sure about that whole process just yet.
Cody.
Eli's obviously the bell cow. Jordan Wright had a really good spring.
Very good spring.
Do you see him kind of taking the number 2 role? And if so, do you foresee maybe Trey Ragus or Raymond Colley coming in and playing as true freshmen?
Kind of hard to say about the freshman, but with Raymond now, you got a guy that runs a 10-4, 10-5. If he can help us out on the jet sweep, if he can help us out in the kick return game, somehow, some way, we got to get him on the field. But Jordan Wright, though, did have a great spring. But also Darius Hoggins had a great spring as well. So we look forward to both those guys kind of battling out for the number 2 spot right now. So we're really excited about that room right now.
Coach, into last year, getting McGuire in the open field was the whole, and you struggled at times. Was that more, as you look at the film and go through the spring, a personnel issue, either quarterback or offensive line and all the injuries there, or was it more scheme?
I don't know. It's a kind of hard to say from that standpoint. I could just talk about maybe moving forward. We're going to have a lot of different options for him, whether it's having him at the slot receiver, free access routes from the backfield. He'll be placed in different spots, though, not just the backfield right now.
Anything else?
Having Mike as an assistant, what's that for you? Just kind of the relationship you had with him 5 years ago, and kind of just being able to play off of him, bounce ideas, all that.
Yeah. Mike to this day is the best player that I've ever coached. He's a warrior, and so right now, moving forward from a coaching standpoint, though, very knowledgeable right now. So obviously the schemes that we were doing back then, he still remembers that stuff. He remembers the stretches. He remembers what we're trying to get accomplished. And so now he's even taking it a step further with him knowing what he knows now is really helping me out a bunch right now. So we're very glad that he's with us right now, part of this program. He's big plus to us.
Go ahead, Ryan.
To have Al Riles as one of the leaders of your offense, is that kind of an edge that you like your offense to have that attitude as leader?
He brings the toughness to that room, absolutely. You know, hard-nosed guy, works his tail off. We need that in that room because most receivers sometimes are a little bit soft. Sometimes they don't like to block, they don't like to get hit. He is the complete opposite. Of course, he came from the defensive side of the ball, and he brought that toughness over to us. So we're very, very happy about him, what he brings to the table.
Last year with all the injuries to the offensive line, how are you going into this year with a little bit depth and then replacing someone like Michael Quaid and how important for just the offensive line to kind of be healthy all season?
You know, we're very young there right now, but optimistic though too as well. Okay, we got some young guys. We got Cole Prudhomme at the center. We got Ken Marks also battling there. Probably gonna have to move one of those guys over to the guard spot. Robert Hunt is absolutely just a monster. 6'6", 315 pounds. We're not gonna lose a lot from that standpoint, but the other guard spot is held down by Goodacre right now. So the depth right now is at center, which we need a backup center right now. But what we're thinking now is that third team center can now be a backup guard right now. So it's going to be a young spot, but they're going to be very good though.
Okay. Anything else? Last chance. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.